Good evening and welcome to Jazz Central. I'm Angela Stribling, and boy, am I excited. You've got a lot to be excited about, our audience here and our audience at home, because we are in for a good time this evening. We've got the highly acclaimed Charlie Haden's Quartet West, and they're going to start the set with Palo Alto on Jazz Central. Welcome back to Jazz Central. I'm Angela Stribling, and I am honored to sit here this evening to talk with Mr. Charlie Haden. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Well, you certainly sound good.
Well, thank you, Angela.
And Quartet West, I mean...
They sound great.
Oh,
I got some great
phenomenal.
musicians.
You've got an all-star lineup.
Been together a long time.
Let's talk about how you all came together in the first place.
I just moved back to L.A. from New York City, and my wife Ruth said, you got to get a band in L.A. because you're always in New York and you're always in Europe. And Ernie Watts and Alan Broadbent, and the first drummer in the band was Billy Higgins, who I've been playing with since we were teenagers. He made the first album with us, and then I was really lucky when Billy was unavailable that Lawrence Marable was living in L.A., and he's a legendary drummer, has played with Charlie Parker and Bud Powell, and we've been playing together also since we were, teenagers. So Lawrence joined the band, and he made the second album with us, and the subsequent third and the most recent album, Always Say Goodbye. So this band has really developed a personality. It's really a classic band.
And it's obviously working, all of you together.
Yeah.
It's a very nice sound. You all listen to each other. It's incredible.
We all inspire each other.
Mm-hmm. And your Always Say Goodbye is certainly is proof. You're winning all these awards, all of these nominations. It seems like everything that you touch, people are hearing that inspiration. They're hearing that creativity.
I'm really happy about that.
There's another project, a collaboration with Hank Jones, Steal Away.
Steal Away, Hank Jones, one of my all-time heroes on the piano. And the guy is elegant. The guy is 77 years old, 77 years young.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's 40, and he plays so beautifully. And he's played with everybody from Billie Holiday to Ella Fitzgerald, and Charlie Parker. And I heard him play a spiritual on a Smithsonian Jazz History of Jazz piano record. And he played "It's Me, O Lord, Standing in the Need of Prayer." It was, it represented this record. It represented everybody from James P. Johnson on up to Herbie Hancock, and in the middle was Hank, and he played this solo piece. When I heard this, I said, "Wow, this is so beautiful." And these songs are forgotten songs, the spirituals and the hymns. These songs are what this country is all about.
They touch you.
And they're healing.
Yeah.
And people should hear them, especially with the way the country's, what's going on here now. They really need to be heard. So we made this record, and it's really, really beautiful.
Spirituals, hymns, and folk songs.
Right. Steal Away.
Steal Away. That's interesting that you would choose that, and I imagine that just hearing that day inspired you to choose these songs for this project.
Yeah, we both talked about what songs we wanted to do, and a couple of times while we were playing and recording, we looked up and said, "Forgive us for that flatted 13." But Hank said, "Charlie, some of these songs we should play just the way they are. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't improvise. We should just play them." And I agreed with him. You
talk about the jazz greats that are in Quartet West and the people who they've played with and the people you've played with. Mm. It's incredible, your history, how Ornette Coleman was your mentor. Mm-hmm. You've played with Coltrane, mm-hmm. Charlie Parker. You've played with great, great people.
I wish I had played with Charlie Parker.
You never played with Charlie Parker?
That's the one guy, him and Bud Powell, I wish I could have played with him. But, they were about 10 years ahead of me or mm-hmm. more. And if I had been back there to play with them, I would have missed Ornette. So, I couldn't
So you didn't do too badly.
No. It was a very exciting period of time. We were trying to figure out the things that we were hearing about improvisation that was really different, and we were all feeling the same way about improvisation at the time mm-hmm. we all met. And when we came together, it was like we all met at the right time. We were in the right place at the right time, and it was a new language, really.
Yeah, timing is everything.
Yeah.
Well, then talk about the origination of the Liberation Music Orchestra. Mm. Now that was another example of perfect timing and coming out with something really great at that time.
Yeah, Angela, I was really concerned back in the late 60s about what the direction, the country was taking, and about Vietnam. And Martin Luther King had just been assassinated, and Robert Kennedy had just been assassinated, and Che Guevara had just been murdered, and there was a Chicago Democratic Convention in Chicago where a lot of kids were being arrested on the streets, and I wanted to voice my concerns about what was going on in the country and in the world politically, And I discovered these songs from the Spanish Civil War in 1937 that were so beautiful, and I just imagined great jazz musicians being inspired by these songs and improvising on these songs. And I was right. It was so great. They were inspired by these beautiful songs from the Spanish Civil War, and we did the first Liberation Music Orchestra album in 1969.
It's
And
incredible.
since then there's been two more, and the last one, Dreamkeeper, which is based on a poem by Langston Hughes, was nominated for a Grammy.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and congratulations. You've got, I mean, and these are just a few of the nominations and awards because you've gotten many. You've been in Downbeat,
Yeah.
you know, for over and over and over. You keep winning. You're really a legend in our time. And people, you say that and people think, do you mean old? But no, I mean, you're an innovator and people do appreciate your music, obviously.
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make more and more people aware how beautiful this art form of jazz is and how it can enhance their life and how important it is to support the arts in this country.
Not only in the States, but in Europe also.
Yeah.
Well, we want to hear you do what you do so well. So after this break, we're going to come back with Charlie Haden and Quartet West on Jazz Central. Welcome back to Jazz Central. I'm Angela Stribling as we continue an incredible evening of jazz with Charlie Haden's Quartet West. Here they are with First Song on Jazz Central.